going to be discussing what my optimal stage list would be. Personally, I'm not a massive fan of the current stage list. I think it's okay, but there are so many small things that can make it so much better. Like, I hate how favoring it is to zoners. Like, everyone's like, oh, it's a zoner meta, and then you take them to Kalos, or you take them to PS2, like, oh, shocker, they're gonna do well. With this list, my intent was not to ruin zoners, it was just to allow other types of characters to flourish as well. Anyways, without further ado, I got some good picks, so let's get into the video. First stage on my list is going to be Wily's Castle. You know what you're saying? Why would you do this? FD exists. And I agree, but this is FD with walls, and walls are like inherently more exciting than no walls. Not saying no walls aren't fun sometimes, but I don't like having Pikachu run onto the stage. And outside of that, the stage just looks better, and from what I've heard, some places in Japan have used it. I don't have much like citing for that, but I've heard it, and other than that, I just think it's a decent replacement for FD. I don't have too deep of reasoning for a lot of these stages. I will go in depth for some more of my controversial picks. Like, this one isn't that deep, it's FD with walls. Let's move on to the next one. Next up is going to be another controversial pick in Battlefield. This one I don't really have much good reasoning for. No, JK, it's Battlefield. I was gonna pick it. I'm only doing one triplat for this list, mostly just because it's very unfun going up against Mario and having to ban Battlefield and then Yoshi's, or that kind of thing. I think Battlefield is like the quintessential triplat, obviously it is. And there's no real alternative to it. Like, Dreamland is too similar, FOD is laggy and too similar, Midgar is too similar. I picked Wily Castle over FD because I had a noticeable difference, but there is no real triplat to really beat this one, it's, at least with hazards off. With hazards on, you could argue FOD or like Yoshi's, but we're doing hazards off. I hate hazards on, because like, some stages are a bit better, but like, no, because it's so much hassle. Anyways, outside the fact that my reasoning isn't that deep, let's move on to the next one. Okay, this one's less funny. Definitely the most controversial pick on this whole thing is gonna be the funny haha mimi Woohoo Island. I know, I've lost all of my 10 viewers with that take. But let me defend myself. Because I think this stage is really good. The stage is big, and that's good for zoners. I know. See, I said I wasn't including all zoners. It's decent for zoners, but there's small blast zones. So there's like risk reward, so if you set up camp on the side of the stage, you can get thwacked. You know, you can die at like 40 there. On the other hand, the reason, like, mind you, most people don't hate Woohoo Island for the layout. Most people don't want it legal because you can go under the stage. However, I think that just makes for more recovery mix-ups and makes ledge trapping more dynamic. I'm a big fan of that. Not for every stage, but just having one where you can have that level of mix-ups and, like, be more scary even when you're in disadvantage, I think that's cool. And I think that's worth having in a stage. Anyway, that's my whole reasoning. I hope I've convinced you, and if I haven't, I hope you don't hate the idea. Anyways, moving on. Moving on to a significantly less controversial pick, we have everyone's favorite stage that was neutered from Smash 4, Smashville. Ooh, the Animal Crossing themed stage is a nice stage for rushdowns, and it's not like terrible for zoners. It's not great for zoners, don't get me wrong, but it's not like the worst thing that could possibly happen to zoners. The main thing with this stage that like makes it more unique from others is the big platform in the middle, which takes up most of the stage while not feeling like Battlefield S where there's no room to run around. Stage has small blast zones, so it's good for characters that can kill early, but it's also good for characters that can't kill, you know, because like it's inherently easier to kill when there's smaller blast zones. It's a good dichotomy, I like it. Anyway, this stage isn't very interesting. I've just blabbed for a minute, so since there's not much more to say, let's move on to the next one. On the theme of Animal Crossing stages, next we have Town and City. just another solid mainstay since Smash 4. Honestly, there's not much to say. It's got good variation. It's the only stage that I can think of that has active moving platforms like in the current like mainstay ultimate stage list, which gives it good enough variation to like stay in. Each version of the stage provides something new and exciting, like inverted triplats, the Kalos style, the FD style. It makes the stage more dynamic and fluid than most stages and really gives it a proper spot in the current stage list. I don't see it being replaced by anything like ever unless the stage really gets messed up. So as you haven't heard before, let's move on to the next one. Now, moving on to PS2, the stage that everyone knows about because everyone wants to beat start on it and then gets angry when they get zoned out on the massive beating stage with good escape options. Wow. No, for real though, PS2 is too cemented into like current ultimate meta. I think first of all I couldn't remove it because I like it, and second of all nobody would accept this rule set if it was gone. And I don't like PS1. I don't like how it looks. That's just my opinion on it. Like that, but that's just my opinion. My game opinion. Please, I'm not thanking you for watching. Anyway, you know, obviously another basic pick. The next one is still pretty basic, but like a bit less so. So, on the Pokemon theme, let's go to this stage. We saw a lot very early into Ultimate, but is kind of dwindled off in terms of popularity. I think Unova is still a very good stage. People just thought, it's kind of like Kalos and it's kind of like PS2, but like it's pretty different. It's smaller than the both of them, and that means it's harder for you to run around, and that's good because, you know, then you have more like diversity, and the zoner has to ban 2 rushdowns, which still leaves like a mediocre rushdown stage, like a neutral stage, which is the goal of this rule set. And Unova is kind of the stage that wraps that all together for me. It's that one where it's like, it's not great for either, but it's still good, but it's not like entirely neutral, you know? Anyway, so moving on to the final stage, and the only counter pick on this entire rule set. Cap off a fittingly underwhelming list, we have Kalos, the dummy big stage, which is dummy good for zoners, just so I don't sound biased against zoners, which I totally am, but I still think a fair ecosystem goes over my bias, and I think Kalos is kind of doing what Unova is doing for me, where it's that one extra zoner stage that like is in most rule sets anyways. It's a big stage. I like walls. I'm not a fan of how big it is or the platform placement, but they're not so atrocious to the point where I would ban it purely on that. The reason I have it as a counter pick is just because there's enough big stages for starters that like if you need a big stage, you'll get a big stage eventually. Anyways, that's my stage list. Now let's move on to the glaring stage I missed. My only note is that I hate Lilat. I hate that stage. I didn't pick it because it's a bad stage. It should not be legal in any rule set. It's just bad. It's so janky, even though it's less janky than it was in Smash 4. It's not pleasant. The slants are like so extreme and they're so angled down that like it changes too many things. It feels like a different game on Lilat. That's like my only comment on Lilat. So anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, again, you don't have to like it, you don't have to subscribe, I'm not making you do anything, but I will see you guys next time. Bye!